Kirkle Math. All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Module 11. This is Lesson 11.1. We are starting some more geometry stuff, and we're going to be able to find the degree of parallel lines, or of angles, that's on a set of parallel lines cut by a transversal. So the lesson is titled Parallel Lines Cut by a Transversal. All right, we're going to have a lot of vocabulary. So for your notes today, it's best if you have some colors that you can color code some lines. If you don't have colors, that's fine. You can use dots or stars or circles to help you connect the angles with each other. All right, so we are going to start by identifying all of these lines. So first, these two lines, A and B, are parallel because these little triangles here, that's that symbol that tells me these lines are parallel. They're in the same direction and they're never going to cross. Now, what does cross is this line right here, which we call a transversal because it transverses across the parallel lines. Now, what happens when we have a set of parallel lines and a transversal is that we get these very special angles and they have special relationships. And because of these relationships, we can do a bunch of math things to help us discover and figure out what missing angle is. Like, what is the measurement of angle 5? What is the measurement of angle 4? So get some colors out. We're going to start by color coding our words. So I'm going to talk about corresponding angles. Now, corresponding angles are two angles in this pair of lines cut by a transversal that are in the same relative direction. They're in the same basic position. Okay? So, for example, we have angle 1 and angle 5. So angle 1 and angle 5 are both on the left side of the transversal, and they're both above the parallel line. You could also think that they're both in the upper left-hand corner of each set of parallel lines. Okay, so because they are in the basic same location, they correspond to each other and they are congruent. And if you don't remember what congruent means, it means that they are the same. So if angle 1 is 110 degrees, then angle 5 is also 110 degrees. Okay? There are other corresponding angles in this group, and you don't have to color code these because it'll start to get confusing. But basically 2 and 6 are corresponding angles. 4 and 8 are corresponding angles. And 3 and 7 are corresponding angles. They are all in the general same position as each other. Something else you can think of since we're coming off of transformations is that if I slid angle 5 and I did a translation around this figure, the only other shape that it would line up with a slide would be angle 1. I'm not changing orientation. I'm not changing the way it's facing, what direction it's facing. I'm just looking at its measurement, and they are identical. All right, grab a new color. We're now going to look at alternate interior angles, which are also congruent. So alternate, if you think about in the real world, if I talk about alternating or who's an alternate, it kind of means like every other or the opposite. And so that's kind of the same idea as if alternate interior angles are angles that are on opposite sides. Okay, so angle 3 and angle 6 are on opposite sides of my transversal, and they are inside my pair of parallel lines. They are interior. So this area that I just drew the rectangle is interior. And then, of course, outside the parallel lines is exterior. Okay, so alternate interior angles are on opposite sides on the inside of my parallel lines. Another set of alternate interior angles would be angle 4 and angle 5. They are also opposite interior angles. Grab another color. Alternate exterior angles are very similar to alternate interior angles, except they are on the outside. So angle 2 and angle 7 are alternate exterior angles because they are opposite of the transversal and they're outside my parallel lines. Angle 1 and angle 8 are also alternate exterior angles. And again, all of these are congruent. They are all the same degrees. So again, if angle 1 is 110 degrees, then angle 5 is 110 degrees, and angle 8 is 110 degrees because they're alternate exterior angles. All right, grab another color. Now we have same side interior angles. Now, same side interior angles are special because they are supplementary, and they're the only pair of angles on here that are, of these 4 that we've listed, that are supplementary. So the example we're going to do is angle 4 and angle 6. So I'm just going to color around it, but it's these right here. And it's because if you think about what we just said, they are on the same side and inside the parallel lines, but they're on the same side of the transversal. So the other set of same side interior angles is 3 and 5. Okay, so supplementary angles are different than congruent. They're not the same. They add to 180 degrees. So the measurement of angle 4 plus the measurement of angle 6 equal 180 degrees. And again, that's going to help us figure out what missing angle we're going to find. It's almost like Clue, like you're detectives, and we have to find the missing piece. Okay, grab another highlighter. All right, vertical angles are formed by 2 intersecting lines. It does not matter which 2 lines it is. So you can have 2 lines like this. You can have 2 lines like a transversal and a parallel line. But as long as 2 lines intersect, you can find a pair of vertical lines. Now, vertical lines are congruent to each other, and they are opposite from each other. So angle 2 and angle 3 are examples of vertical angles. Angle 1 and angle 4 are vertical. Angle 5 and angle 6 are vertical, and angle 8 and angle 6 and angle 7 are vertical. They are across from each other, okay, in that vertical, and across from each other in those intersecting lines. So those are important to know. And then the last set of lines that we need to know are blue. I did blue. Pink. Too bad. Red's kind of too similar. Let's do dark green. Supplementary angles. Now, supplementary angles, again, does not only form on pairs cut by a transversal, but any 2 lines that add up to 180 degrees or a straight line is a supplementary. So same side interior angles are supplementary. Other angles that are supplementary would be like 7 and 8, because if you notice, they make a straight line. 5 and 6 are supplementary. 3 and 4, 1 and 2. 2 and 4, 1 and 3. 6 and 8, 5 and 7. All of these are supplementary. They add to 180 degrees as long as they form a straight line. All right, wowee, that's a lot of notes to take. So refer back to your notes because you need to know these words and these vocabulary information. So now we're going to start to actually solve and find the missing angle. So we're going to use our vocabulary words. So it says angle 2 and angle 7 have a relationship together. We know that angle 7 is 125 degrees. What is angle 2? Well, if you look at their placement and you look back at your notes, these are alternate exterior angles, which means they are congruent. So angle 2 is also 125 degrees. Down here, we are looking at angle VWZ. So that means I need to figure out what 3x is. The only other information we have is this angle here, which is 6x. But good news, they are same side interior angles, and same side interior angles add to 180 degrees. They're supplementary. So all I have to do is write this algebraic expression and then solve. 6x plus 3x is 9x. 180 divided by 9 is 90. Or, no, 20, sorry. All right, but it is not asking me to find x, it's asking me to find this angle right here. So because this angle is the same as 3 times x, and I know that x is 20, I know that this angle is 60 degrees. So we're kind of using clues to help find these missing angles, and we're going to use some algebra as well. All right, in this problem here, we're going to analyze this entire shape to answer these questions. So they want to know u, v, y, what is, and what other angle are corresponding. So I know that this is on the right side of the parallel line, and it's above, I'm sorry, the right side of the transversal, and it's above the parallel line. So I also want an angle that's on the right side of the transversal, but above the parallel line. So the other angle that is corresponding would be angle VWZ, okay? VWZ, those are corresponding angles. Now the next one is asking for the relationship between WVY, so this guy right here, and VWT, this guy right here. So if you look at these, they're both interior angles and they are alternating sides. So they are alternate interior angles. All right, which means that they are congruent. Okay, now we're going to get into something a little bit trickier. So they want to know the measurement of SVW, which is 4x. And they're going to want to know the measurement of VWT, which is 5x. Again, these are same side interior angles, so I know they add to 180 degrees. So I'm just going to add them together and make them equal 180 degrees. And we actually end up getting the same problem as before. This doesn't always work out this way, but x is 20 degrees. I am now going to take the 20 degrees and plug them into the two equations. So 4 times 20 is 80 degrees, and 5 times 20 is 100 degrees. Now they said that when two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, what angles are supplementary? Same side interior angles. Those are the only ones on the list that we were looking at that are supplementary, same side interior angles. Now, sometimes you have relationships with angles that you've either learned in the past and aren't going to be on our little handy dandy cheat sheet. For example, this little box here, you should know that that means 90 degrees. And so what that means is that the angles 65 and B also add up to 90 degrees. So those are called complementary angles. It should be something we learned in the past, but if we forgot, that's okay. As long as you know that 65 plus B is 90 degrees, you can solve for B. So we subtract 65 from both sides, and you're going to get B equaling, reduce, let's see, 25 degrees. Now over here, we have to start figuring out what this is. So my parallel lines are here, okay? And this is my transversal. Angle B and angle 60 are alternate exterior angles. So that means that they are congruent. So B is 60 degrees. All right, so try this one on your own. You need to find these three angles using this image here. Give them a try, pause the video, and then come back and see if you got the right answers. So the fun thing about questions like this is there's a million ways to solve them. So what I ended up doing was I know that these two angles don't really have a relationship, but this angle here and 4x are supplementary. This angle here and 6x are corresponding. So that means that 4x plus 6x is 180 degrees.